As anyone who's watched this channel recently will know, I am not the biggest fan of the default WordPress dashboard. Anything you can do to improve the look and the functionality is a positive in my books. And today, we'll be doing just that with the Ultimate Dashboard Pro plugin and the newly released version 3. Before we start though, this is a sponsored video by David, the main developer of Ultimate Dashboard Pro and the Page Builder Framework WordPress theme. As with all my sponsored videos though, I will not be offering any opinion. Instead, I'll simply demonstrate the plugin, what you can do with it, and then you are free to make up your own mind as to whether this is a plugin you'd like to take for a test yourself. So if you want to check out Ultimate Dashboard Pro, just head over to ultimatedashboard.io and you can find all the information about the free version and also the pro version, which is what we'll be covering in this sponsored video. As you can see, it gives you an overview of all the various different features, and that's what we're going to go through today. We're going to take a look at each of these features so I can show you exactly what's going on. As always, timestamps in the description below should you want to jump to any particular point. So I've already gone ahead, opened up my dashboard, and as you can see, this is your typical WordPress dashboard. And as anybody that knows me knows, I absolutely think this is a terrible location. It's badly organized, full of clutter and junk. So any tool that can help us streamline this and make a more usable place for our clients and for ourselves is a good thing. First on the agenda is the ability to create your own WordPress widgets to build a truly unique and user-focused dashboard homepage. So let's take a look at that first. I've already gone ahead and installed both the plugins. Now you have to install the free version and the pro version to get all the features. Once that's done and activated, we have a new entry called Ultimate Dashboard. Inside there, that's broken up into various different sections, and I'm going to go through each one of these in turn. So like I say, if you want to jump to any of these points, check out the timestamps below. Okay, so the all widgets. Let's go and take a look at that first. This is where we can create our own custom widgets. And if you wonder what a widget is, it's basically if you consider one of these areas inside our dashboard and we want to give it a feature, for example, create a new post, edit our profile and so on, we can create a widget and place that into this dashboard area. So let's do that now. Let's come into all widgets and let's create a new one. So we're going to say add new, and from there, the first thing we're going to do is give it a name. So we're going to say add new post. We can choose an icon widget if we want to, or we can choose text widget, HTML, and so on. So you can see if we change these, we get different types of widgets. Let's start off by creating a typical standard icon widget. So this is where we can create links to various different features that are part of, for example, the dashboard of WordPress. In this case, we're going to do add new post. So we come over, we've got our options. What I can do now is I can simply come over to the add new, I can right click and I can say copy link address. Now I've got the address for that particular feature. So we come to the link section, and what I'm going to do is paste that information into there. And you see that puts the full URL in there. Now we can use absolute URLs or we can use relative URLs. Generally, I would suggest using the relative URL because it means that it's not dependent upon the domain. So if you change things, it can mean that things will break. So the easiest thing to do is to remove everything prior to the actual link that you want, in this case the post-new.php. So you have a forward slash and we just put the full stop or the period before that, and we've now created the relative link. You can set this to open in a new tab if you want to, and you can also come in and do things like add tooltips. So we'll say add a new WordPress post, and we can also then select an icon we want to use. So we'll find something on there. We'll just say edit, for example. Doesn't really matter too much what I'm going to choose. It's just to demonstrate. So we'll just pop this in. That looks good. So we've now created our first icon widget. Over on the right hand side, we can choose whether this is going to be active, the published status, the position of this, and also the priority. So it's up to you how you want to work with these, but they're pretty self-explanatory. The higher the priority, the further up the list of icons or widgets you'll be displayed. Then we've got the user role and the user access. Now the user role is a pretty simple thing. It sets up what user role can access this particular widget inside the dashboard. Now it's set to all at the moment, but you can change that very easily and choose any of the user roles for WordPress. And if you've got anything that's created custom user roles, they'd be listed here too. So let's just say we want to remove the all option and we only want administrators, editors, and authors to have access to this. So anybody that's not in that user role will not see this and have access to it. However, if you wanted to limit this based upon specific users, you could do that by using the user access. So you could set all, for example, on the user role, or you could leave it as it is now and also set up the different users who have access to it. So you can stack these in whatever way that you want. So once that's done, we'll hit update or save on there. And then we can come over into our dashboard and we can take a look at this in action. So if we scroll down the page, you can see there's our new widget. So if we want to, we can click on that and we'll be taken over to add a new post in. Okay, so that's how we can create a typical simple linked dashboard widget. Let's take a look at creating something else. Let's add another one in. And this time we're just going to say, we're going to call this help video, for example. And we'll change this over to a video widget. You can see we now get different options. So we're going to paste in the link to the video that I want to reference, which is just going to be one of mine, for example. But obviously you could use this, you could create links to videos that are unlisted on YouTube. There could be help videos, and then you've got a nice help resource you could have directly inside the dashboard for your clients. Choose platform, we've got a choice between YouTube and Vimeo, and then we've got the option for a thumbnail. So what I'll do is I'll just say I'll upload a thumbnail. I'll just grab one of my thumbnails, doesn't really matter what one it is, and we'll upload that. So we've now created our second widget. All the same options are available now on the right hand side where we can set the user roles and all those kinds of things. But for now, I'll leave it as it is. We'll hit publish on there. And again, we'll just come in and we'll take a look at this. So again, if we scroll down the page, you can see there's our help video. If we click, it'll open up the video and we can start playing it. So super cool, really, really easy to do. When you're ready to deal with the normal WordPress dashboard clutter, there is the settings section. So let's open that up next and see what goodies are inside there. So if we come into settings, we now have a range of different things we can do to control all this. You can see we can choose at the top to remove all widgets. So we can click on all, for example, and we'll just scroll down and we'll save this. Then come back and take a look at our dashboard. And you can see we've got rid of most of them, but not everything. We still have this Elementor option inside there. So we're almost there, but not quite. Let's come back into our settings again, and what we can do now is you can see we've got the option for third-party widgets. Now this is telling us we can remove the Elementor overview. Now depending upon what plugins you have installed and what are supported with this moving forward, you'll see additional ones inside here. So you may see things like for Yoast and so on, well you could select those and you could disable those as well. So now let's just again save this option and just come back to our dashboard and refresh, and we should find now we've just got our widgets inside there, which we can drag those around and do what we want with them to tidy things up. So again, like I say, really easy to do. We also have more options inside here. We can control the widget styling. So we can change the icon and text color, the headline color. So for example, we may have a particular branding color we want to work with. We'll just use this green for now. And we'll just say that's fine. And we'll just save this out again. And we come back over to our dashboard and refresh. And we see now our icons take on the color scheme that's part of our overall dashboard color or branding or client branding. You know, whatever you're kind of using, those options can be applied inside the dashboard. Same kind of thing goes for the headline color. We'll leave that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, next up, we've got the page builder dashboard, and you can see the user roles, and we've got what template do we want to use. So if you're using a page builder like Elementor, you can reference those templates inside here, and you can set up which template applies to any particular user role. So you can set a global catch-all by using the all option, or you can configure them on a user role by user role basis. And if we click and open these up, you can see we've got the different templates that I've created for various different things. So I'll go and create a template in a moment just to show you how this works. But you can see any template you have will be listed inside here and applicable and available to you. So you can use this and configure things for any of your user roles. Okay, so let's just create our template. We're going to go with the templates option and go into save templates. And inside there, we're going to choose this page option. We'll add a new template and we'll just call this Ultimate Dashboard Pro Dashboard Template. Just so we've got an easy definable name. We'll create that. And now we can use any of the tools that we have available to us inside Elementor. And we can use those to design things. So first of all, I'm going to come and just change this over now. So we're using a blank template. We're not using the normal WordPress option. So we're going to come in, we're going to say change the page layout to Elementor Canvas. So we've got this completely blank layout. And now we can just start building. So let's just drop in something like a header, and we'll just say welcome aboard. And we'll just drop in something really simple like 2 columns. And we'll just drop in a little bit of text on the one side and a picture on the other, just so you can see exactly what you can do with this and how easy it is to create all this kind of stuff. So let's just come back and choose an image, drop that inside there. We'll pick an image and we'll grab something. That'll do. We'll insert that into there and we'll just put a little bit of text in. Okay, there we go. So we'll publish that and we'll just say that's our welcome aboard template done. So we can come back out of this now, go back into Ultimate Dashboard and into our settings. And we're going to come down and we're going to say this is going to be for everybody. So we'll select that and you can see there's our Elementor UDP dashboard template. We can select that and we've now created our custom header section for our dashboards. We'll save those changes, come back over to our dashboard and take a look. And you see now at the top, we've got our little welcome section. Now, like I say, you can style this to make sure everything is in keeping. You can drop in contact forms, whatever you kind of want to do. You just have the flexibility and the power of Elementor to use this and do what you want. And the nice thing is you can use Elementor free. You don't have to have the pro version because that allows you to create templates for sections and for pages like you just see me demonstrate. So what else do we have in the settings section? Well, you can see underneath general, we can do things like remove the help tab, remove the screen options tab. And again, if you're wondering what these are, they're basically, if you take a look in the top corner, you can see there's screen options and you can see there's help. So you can easily disable those just by simply checking those options. And you can see we can also remove the admin bar from the front end. So if you don't like having that on the front end of your site, which I personally don't, you can just check that and remove it. You can also change the custom dashboard headline. So if you don't want dashboard, you want to put something else in there, you could drop the name inside there. You can also control the things like the dashboard columns. So you can configure this to be as many as you want between 1 and 4. We'll leave that set as it is. And then the order widget, you can see we've got custom order, or we can choose a particular user's order if you want to use that side of things. And then we've also got the ability to add in custom dashboard CSS and custom admin CSS. So if you are comfortable working with CSS and you want to really get in and fine tune things to make them exactly how you want, you can drop that code inside here and then start styling and editing everything to be perfect. Finally, we've got the remove font awesome. So if you're having any problems with your icons not displaying correctly, you can check that option. And one thing I always like to see on any plugin is the remove data on uninstall, which just means that all the data that's created when you remove this plugin is taken out of the database and cleans things up. Nice to see that. So we'll hit save changes on there. We'll head back to our dashboard, we'll hit refresh, and now you can see those options in the top right hand corner for the help and so on have now been removed. So we've already gone ahead and started to clean up the interface, much easier than having to do this by hand or having a half a dozen plugins to do things. If you want to reduce the WordPress branding, add some custom footer text in, or generally make the dashboard look a little less WordPressy, this is a good place to start. So the white labeling section gives us only a couple of options, but you don't really need a huge amount inside here. First of all, you can enable or disable this. So we'll enable it. We can choose between two different layouts currently. The default, which is the standard WordPress layout, and then we can choose the modern option. Now you won't see anything at the moment because we have to save this and then maybe refresh it. But this just opens up and tidies up the design a little bit, makes it a little bit more fresh. I would love to see more options inside here. Hopefully it'll be something that we'll have the ability to have different themes and so on. So David, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you will be, please give us some more layout options because we like layout options. Okay, so the accent color, again, this goes down to that branding side of things. If you've got a specific color you use for your branding, for example, this green color, well, we could use that. We could tweak it to get the color we want and adjust things, and then the highlights and all those things would actually take on that. So it's easy to brand things up inside here. Your admin bar logo and your admin bar logo URL. So we can just use any logo. So obviously you'd use something to do with your company or your client. We'll just choose this particular little logo. We'll use that image and we can drop in a different link if we want to. So we could create a link that'll go somewhere specific. We can even add in footer text and a version text. So we could say lovingly designed by WPTuts. And then your version, we could say this is version 1.01. There we go. Okay, we'll save the changes on there. And now you can see we've refreshed things. We've got a different design. Our colors have been picked up, and we can see we've got the image, the information at the bottom has now all been replaced. Now, it's whether you like to have this. For me, the version text side of things, I would rather leave the normal WordPress version in there, because when you're working with clients and you are just checking to see, they might not have a maintenance plan in place and you want to see what version they're running if there's a problem, This just becomes a bit of a nuisance, but for lots of cases, it can be very useful. For me, I like to leave the standard WordPress versioning in there so I can see exactly what any client may be using or what any site that I have would be using. Okay, so that's all there is to the white labeling. It's very, very easy. And as you can see, all the key options are there. And we already have a dashboard that looks a lot more fresh. Even though it still looks like WordPress, at least it looks a little bit more modern, a little bit more branded and so on. If there's one page that makes your site look like a WordPress site from the time you lay eyes on it, it's the login page. So let's take a look at how we can deal with that next. The good old WordPress login. It's pretty ugly, it hasn't really changed much in years, and it's a place that if you can brand this up and make it look a little bit fresh, can make a world of difference to how your site will look, especially when you offload this to a client. So we've got a nice easy customizer that works inside the normal WordPress customizer, so you should be familiar with this. And as you can see, we've got all the different options on the left hand side broken down so we can configure exactly how we want this particular login section to look. First up, we have a couple of templates. And again, I would love to see more templates inside here. So hopefully David will be able to create more templates and make those available as part of the plugin. But we can easily switch between different designs. Once we've chosen the design, we can then go on and further refine it. So we'll choose this over on the right-hand side. Come back out. Obviously, we want to put a logo inside this. We'll select our logo image and we'll choose the same logo image as before. So we're already getting something that looks a little bit more branded. Your logo URL, obviously you want to set that to your home URL. If it's something different, you might want to change it in there. And the same things like logo title, you can change whatever you want. Come back out, our background. So now we can change the color on this if we want to. So we can go for this green color, which would look absolutely horrendous, but you can set it if you want to. Or you can choose an image. So let's just default that and let's select an image. So we'll choose this particular one. We'll set that image and then we can control the position of that. So we might say we want to put this center right. You can choose whether you want it to auto, cover, or contain. And also you can set up the repeat. So we now have a much better looking login section already within a couple of seconds. You also still have more options. Your login form, for example, we can position, we want that to be on the left-hand side, default, the right-hand side, and depending on what option you choose, that you then get extra options to fine-tune and configure this. So you can change your background color, you can refine the box width, the top and bottom padding, and so on. All pretty self-explanatory, very easy to work with, but nice and quick to just configure things to make them look a little bit fresh. Same goes for the input fields. You can control all the styling across there to make sure everything is branded up perfectly, your labels, your login button, and your footer links. So all those options are there. Once you're happy, you can hit publish and you've basically created your own custom login section. Now, when you hand over a website to a client, there are many times where you need to provide support information, FAQs, tutorials, or a whole host of other information. This is where the admin pages feature comes in really, really handy. There's a lot of uses you could use the admin pages for. For example, you may want to use it for support, help, documentation, instruction, anything like that. It could be frequently asked questions. You can build up a nice knowledge base inside here and you can integrate it into the dashboard of WordPress using the admin pages feature. So let me just show you how easy it is. We can say add new, and then we've got some simple options. So we'll just call this support docs, and then we could just drop in some content. So I'll just grab some content from here and then we'll just pop that inside there. Okay, so we've got some content in there and we can come down and we can choose some display options. We'll come back to these in a moment because these are more applicable if you're using a page builder. But they're pretty self-explanatory. Remove page title, page margins, and admin notices. Now, admin notices, that's something that's really useful. Again, one of my pet peeves when it comes to WordPress, especially with a lot of plugins and themes, are all those nagging little notifications you get inside the dashboard, which can make it look cluttered and really frustrating to work with. With this, you can remove that from the admin section, the admin pages we're creating. It would be nice to see the option to remove this from the entire dashboard. So I'd love to see that in a future update as well. So we'll just select that option. And again, you've got your custom CSS and custom JavaScript if you need to set up any custom code inside here to make sure that certain features work. You then have the option to make it active on the right-hand side. You can choose between the default editor and the HTML editor. So if you wanted to work with HTML code inside here, you could do just that. Or you can stick to the default editor, which is what we'll do. We then have the menu attributes. Do we want to make this a top-level menu or do we want to make it a subsection? So we may have In this case, the support docs could be an overview of what is included, and that would be a top level, and then we could create sub pages inside there, which would then be child pages of a particular top level section. You know, you can create quite comprehensive documentation then to support the site, the features, those kinds of things. We'll leave it at a top level menu, and we'll leave the menu order, which again, like I say, you can control this, so you can make sure it fits perfectly within the menu structure you've got on the left hand side. And then you've got the help, the menu icon, which again, we can just choose something from there. So let's just say we'll just look for help, and we'll just choose this option. Finally, we have the user role access. And again, we can choose between any of the standard user roles as WordPress, or if you've created custom user roles, or you have things like WooCommerce installed, you'd also have access to those particular user roles inside there. So pretty cool. We'll publish this page. Once that's published, we now have a new section on the left-hand side called Support Docs. And if we click inside there, there's our support doc set up. So this looks okay. And for whatever purpose you have, this might be more than enough. But we do have an extra feature. We can work with a page builder like Elementor. We just need to enable that ability. So if we come into Elementor and we come into the settings section, underneath there, you can see the post types that are supported. By default, we've got posts and pages, but admin pages is a new section inside here when you've got Ultimate Dashboard Pro installed. So once we enable that and save the changes, we can now start to use the Elementor editor to create our custom admin pages. So let's come back into Ultimate Dashboard, into our admin pages. Let's edit this page. And now we have the Edit with Elementor button at the top. So we can click on that, open up Elementor, and start working with that to create a more unique look. So we can easily come in, we'll add some extra paragraphs in here, for example, and we'll just put a heading in, help and support. We'll set that to something like H3. We can say we want to drop some images in there, so we can just come in and say we'll put an image inside here. So we'll add media, and we'll just grab this one of my video thing. We'll drop that inside there, and obviously you can configure this and make sure it looks the way you want. You can set columns and so on. The only thing to bear in mind is because you're working in the dashboard of WordPress, even though you see this formatting for the titles and so on, that doesn't carry over to the dashboard. This is a front-end only design feature, but you are seeing it at the back end because Elementor doesn't know you're going to be setting this up for the dashboard use. So just bear that in mind that when you're seeing these sort of formats of the text and so on, it's not necessarily going to look that way when you actually launch these pages. But that being said, let's come down and let's just do something like drop in a video widget inside here. So we can say we want to add a video. We'll leave the default video. That's perfectly fine. So we can set up all the controls inside there. We can update this page now. And if we come out of Elementor and we now take a look at our new page, and we go to our support docs and open that up, you can see now we've got the video inserted in there, the image inside there, so we can get as creative as we want with this. And again, if we come back into the admin pages and open this back up, we can then use these options to say remove the page title, remove the page margins, update that. We'll open that up and you'll see now that we don't have excess margins and so on in there. The title's been removed. So everything is controllable design-wise, you know, all those kinds of things there. And we just leverage the power of Elementor to make the whole process of designing these really quick, easy, and intuitive. So really cool. If you're looking for an easy way to take control of the whole WordPress admin menu structure, the admin menu feature is going to put a massive smile on your face. Now, the admin section is going to be super useful for pretty much everybody that has clients or users that access their WordPress dashboard and are not administrators. This is where you can fine-tune and configure exactly what your dashboard looks like on the menu structure based upon the different user roles. So across the top, we've got your admin, editor, author, and so on. And then we've got the various different features underneath it for each one of those user levels. So you can see underneath the dashboard, we can expand that. We can change the name on there, change the icon for this. The submenu options, you can see inside there, we've got the different submenus, which we can again expand, change the name on there if we want to. Really nice, simple way of being able to view this entire hierarchy of your dashboard navigation. Now, making changes to this is really simple. If you want to hide something, you just simply use the eye icon and that'll make it invisible. In other words, it won't be available to the user logged in with that particular user role. And if you want to reorder these, you can just drag them around, reorder them as you see fit. And then once you're happy with that, so let's just say we'll disable this dashboard one for now, you can come down at the bottom, save your changes, and you can see that has now disappeared. So we've got rid of that. Really, really simple and easy to do. If you want to revert those back, you can say reset administrator menu. So we'll just say reset that. Now everything is back in place. Same works for editor. We can come in and we can do exactly the same inside there. So you can quickly and easily go through this whole process of setting up exactly how you want things to be seen, what's available to users based upon their user role. This is perfect if you are working with clients or you're working with other people that are logging in to create content, but you don't really want to just give them either the default standard permissions they have for that particular user role, which is often ignored when you have extra third-party plugins installed. So there's easy way of just being able to disable things that you don't want anyone to have access to based upon their user roles. Now for me, this is probably one of the most intuitive ways of working, and to be honest, I don't really think I need to go into any more detail than that. Use the eye icon to enable or disable any particular section. You can rename it, you can change the icon on there, all those kinds of things. Really, really simple, really, really easy to work with. Want to import or export your widgets and their settings without the need to start from scratch each and every time? No worries, you can do that with the tools section. So finally now is the tools option. And as you can see, there's basically two options inside here. You can export your widgets or you can import your widgets. So if you had a set of standard widgets that you wanted to use across most sites, well, you could easily just export those with or without their settings, import them into your next site and use that as a starting point. Now the include settings is great if you are using, like I said earlier on, we took a look at creating widgets, making sure you use relative URLs, then you don't have to worry about going in and relinking things because you're using a dedicated URL structure inside that link. So use the relative options and then you just make your life super quick and easy when you export, including those settings, and then you just import those into your next site and use them as a starting point. And that really is the ultimate dashboard pro for WordPress. It's really simple to get to grips with. There's a lot of great functionality, and if you want to use just one plugin to manage all these aspects of offloading a dashboard to a client that doesn't look like the standard WordPress dashboard, this is a really simple, viable option with a lot of really easy, well thought out features. So if you like this type of content and would like to see more, please give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and smash that bell icon. But if you didn't find it useful, well, feel free to hit that thumbs down button twice, as that works pretty well too. As always, all of the applicable links for everything covered in this video are in the description below. My name has been Paul C. This has been WPTuts, and until next time, take care.